Shannon, do you like Baker's attitude here?
Skip, he's walking a very dangerous line here. Because at the end of the day, you have to understand these are grown men. And although you play the quarterback position and is held in very high regard, you're not above them. I remember when I got to Denver, Skip, John Elway was going into his 7th season. He had already been an MVP and had already gone to 3 Super Bowls. And that's kind of how I base things on because of the way he kind of treated me. There were mistakes that being made, and he didn't yell. He would wait till I got back to the huddle. He pulled me to the side and says, I think you're a little deep. That was not what we called in the huddle. You missed the hot route. There are things like that. And even as it progressed, because at the end of the day, Skip, I'm a man. You remember, Skip, when Baker was in college and he felt when they didn't shake his hand at the coin toss, they disrespected him and he did something to them across the field, correct? Mm-hmm. TCU, when he felt that they had run through the line, he threw the ball. He felt they had disrespected him, right?
Nailed the kid.
So
right
can you imagine?
Yep.
So can you imagine if a man feels you disrespects him in public? I just think the thing is with Baker is that you pull him aside. You don't yell and scream because you don't want to be in a situation when you throw a pick and the guy says, "What the hell, Baker? What the F are you doing?" Yep. Or you throw a bad completion. You don't want this to go back and forth. I just believe Baker can pull these guys up to the side and say, "Guys, I'm going to need you to work back. We're in a scramble drill. You know what your responsibilities are. We can't get lazy." But yelling and screaming out in public, Skip, I don't operate like that. And I knock on wood a lot because I think the relationship that John and I have, it built a lot because he respected me enough. And maybe he was afraid, knowing I come from South Georgia, kind of knowing my background of how I grew up. And maybe he's like, you know what, I'll pick and choose battles about that I want to fight. But Skip, I'm a firm believer. I believe that there's a way that you can handle everything. And I don't believe yelling and screaming and cursing is the best way to handle that, even when you're dealing with macho, machismo football players.
Yep. So I do appreciate your consistency because you were all over Ben Roethlisberger, who, by the way, has won 2 Super Bowls, played in 3, but you were all over him yesterday for his treatment of Antonio Brown, especially a year ago, calling him out on his public radio show, obviously, and correct. Privately and on the field, and just going after him and obviously after James Washington publicly. And you said that's just out of bounds for Ben Roethlisberger and that he's not a leader, right?
And I even remember I got on Aaron Rodgers when he thought the guy ran the wrong route and he's doing all that.
Because I got on him first, but that's okay. Now back to my guy, Baker, who used to be suddenly, for a while he was your guy, Baker, but now he got 1 foot off the bandwagon.
No.
This has always been Baker. Jenny covered
That's
Baker
true.
at the University of Oklahoma. This is his makeup. This is how he was made to play quarterback and to lead a football team. He's just going to let you know exactly what he thinks at any given moment. Unvarnished, man. It's going to be unedited. He's just going to let it fly. So remember, yesterday, in front of the media lining the sidelines, he is screaming curse words at Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry, who both are far more decorated in this league than Baker has been decorated, right? Jarvis led the league in catches at Miami. Odell has the greatest catch in the history of the NFL. But the point is that he did not hesitate to go after both of them in a 7-on-7 in which he scrambled to buy time, and he needed them to break their routes and come back to me, reroute, try to come back and get open back toward me, and they continued to run their routes, and he got, quote-unquote, sacked, right? Mm-hmm. So he let them have it, and then he didn't back off in front of the media and said, well, I'm not a jackass, but he can be a little bit of a jackass on the football field. Yeah. And yet, I'm okay with it because of this. Baker has established a rapport with Odell and Jarvis off the field that I don't believe Ben even came close to establishing with AB or certainly rookie James Washington or any of those. Ben can be a little aloof, a little standoffish, a little above it all, a little unapproachable, a little bit hard to get to know in the locker room setting. Baker, the flip side. Baker has partied with Odell. Baker has hung out with Jarvis. Both are quick to say, Baker can really dance. And for those two to say he can dance, that's pretty big, right? That's really, that makes you a made man with them in the party area, right?
The party scene, yes.
Okay, so they have some element of rapport and respect for Baker that maybe they wouldn't have had if Ben were their quarterback, even though they respect, everybody respects Ben's ability and what he's achieved in this league. But maybe Baker can get away with this a little bit more, especially with Odell. I think Jarvis is more of a team guy, and he'll just say, okay, that's just the way it is. Although Jarvis can be very sensitive to the point of being oversensitive. But I don't think they're going to take this personally. I don't think that, like you said, it's like challenging your manhood. I don't think they went home last night thinking, kid's not going to challenge my man. He's not going to show me up that way in front of the media.
Skip, it was funny because things that would happen, if John got upset at someone, it was normally me that was doing the yelling that was like, what the F are we doing? We understand it. We see the guy scrambling. What's your rule? Okay, you closer to him, you come downhill. The other guy, you level off. The other guy, you go deep. What are we doing? He didn't have to because that was my job. I wanted him always to be, man, John, cool, you're this fan. But I was going to jump you. Because I think guys will respond easier. You know what, for me, it was easier for me to respond a guy in my group or a guy in my level talking because I automatically assume, oh, you feel because you're the quarterback or you feel because you're above me, you can talk down to me. So now, Skip, I got to buck. I got to buck up and put my chest out to let you know, hold on, bro. I got kids too. Don't think just because you're the quarterback that you can you make more money than me because you're not above me. You're on the 53 just like I am. And so when things went wrong with the team, it was me. I would do the one because that way John stayed good. John was good with everybody. But if there was a problem, we got it addressed. And I appreciate the way he handled that. And that's, and there are guys that made mistakes. Everybody's not perfect. Everybody learns at different levels, and it takes guys a little. And it took me a while because think about it, Skip. I'm in a game, and my quarterback is having to tell me every play, every blocking assignment, and he never raised his voice. Skip, I remember in '92, Skip, we were playing the game, and Dan Reeves used to send the plays in by the player. He didn't call the play. He sent the plays in. Skip, I'm tired. I've been going in motion the whole game. I get to the huddle, and John's like, okay, what's the play? And I was like, I forgot. Skip, I literally forgot. Skip, he looked at me, and he was like, it just took a timeout. He could have said, Heidner, you know what? You forget a play, you run from here to there, and you don't forgot to play. He just took a timeout. Don't worry about it, T.
Wow.
And he went to the sideline. Man, Skip, I never forgot that. And as players, as I got better and I understood what everybody else needed to do, if somebody, man, what I got, don't worry about it. Hey, you got this right here. You the hot route. That was my job. John had enough things on his plate to worry about than telling everybody what they needed to do. But I made sure I got better, got more proficient in the playbook so I could help someone else. And that's the way I handle it. But I'm not, Skip, I get that Baker is who he is, but you're walking a dangerous line when you do things like this, especially when you air it out publicly.
But what a line came up earlier this week on this show, different strokes for different folks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the way Baker has always done it. And the essence of this, what the receiver has to decide is he blame deflecting? Is he trying to protect himself by blaming me? Is he finger pointing at me to take the onus off himself? Or does he just want to win football games? Because that's how you got to do better to win the game.
Well, ultimately, yeah.
Okay? So if they decide, Odell and Jarvis, he's just trying to win, he's just trying to make us better, that'll be okay. But if they get to the point where they think, well, he's screwing up too, is he just trying to make us look bad so he doesn't?
Right.
Well, that's
It
gets to that with Aaron Rodgers, and we've had Greg Jennings talk about this. At some point, you got to take some blame for what's happening also. So we'll see how it plays out for Baker, but I think he can get away with it better than Ben can get away with it.
Skip, I had a situation one time, it wasn't John, but the quarterback told me I had run the wrong route. And he asked me what was I, it wasn't public, but he asked me what the F I was doing. And I looked at him, I said, what the F are you doing? You the one that messed up. You called the wrong route. I ran what you called.
You know, I'd forgotten you played football. I forgot that. And now I remember.
Reminded
yeah.
off and around.
You know what,
reminded
Skip?
me.
Skip, you know what? I was a really good guy. I was a fun-loving, but I wasn't going to let you talk to me any kind of how. You've been around me long enough now to know that.
The dynamic
So,
of you and Baker would be an interesting
I don't
one,
think
I
that
have
would
to say.
work.
I just remember my first time, one of the first times covering Baker and watching him get into it with his teammates on the sideline, watching him get into it with fans right there in the stands. I had to go up to their SID, sports information director, and say, is this normal? And he's like, oh, this is nothing. I mean, this is him, right? He never had a problem with it in college, but I hear you, Shannon. It's that fine line when it goes too far. But this isn't anything new, and that is something we've always seen from Baker.
This is why John Dorsey took him #1 overall. This quality is what he loved the most in Baker.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.